Hello everyone. So welcome to the channel of RD Automation Learning. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the candidates who are trying to get a job into the testing field using fake experience. We will also discuss to what extent this is relevant and to what extent it is irrelevant. What are the pros and cons of going for fake experience. So by the end of this video, you will get a very clear idea of whether you should proceed ahead with the fake experience in your career or not. But before that, if you're watching this video for the very first time, then please do like, share, and subscribe our channel. So let's look at multiple scenarios. First of all, in which scenarios we are trying to get job using fake experience. Okay, see, generally what happens, it has been seen that when people have career gap and maybe due to personal reasons or maybe due to professional reasons, so what they will do is they will go for fake experience, right? Then next people who are from non-IT to IT. Someone has been working in the non-IT field, mechanical, civil engineering, and now they are trying to switch to IT field. So for them also, they will try to go with the fake experience. What they will do is they will be using that non-IT experience and they will be trying to make it relevant to IT, right? Or make it to IT. For example, if someone has worked 2 years in non-IT field, then what he will do is he or she will try to get some documents of 2 years of work experience in IT field, right? So that's the thing. And the third thing is about the freshers. When freshers are not able to get the job, so then they try to get some help from the consulting companies, from some agencies. They'll get some kind of these documents ready from them, and then they will come up with the fake experience, right? Now, what happens generally in these particular things, right? So let's come to this point. Okay, if someone is having a career gap and they showed the fake experience, they were not working since 1 or 2 years and they showed the fake experience, maybe they cracked the interview, right? There are again two things: crack the interview successfully and was unable to crack. So if they are still unable to crack the interview, then there is no point. But if they are able to crack the interview, right, then what happens is then they will be work they will be working on real time projects. But in real time projects, when you see, if you haven't worked since last 2 years, so automatically you should be skilled enough that you are able to cope up to that speed, which is generally very difficult because the other team members in your team leads, your managers, they will be having very high expectations. You might be putting your 60% effort, but what about the rest of the 40% effort? So that's where you might be caught that no, he or she is not having that much relevant years of experience which he or she should have, right? So based on work experience, based on your analytical skill set, based on your experience of writing the test cases, of how you will design those test cases, how you will approach that particular functionality for testing, right, then it can be caught, right? For example, if you are having some 5 to 6 years of experience, right, and if they ask you to write test cases and if you just give them positive test cases, you don't include negative test cases, you don't include non-functional performance or security related test cases, right, which are into the trend. But if you're not aware about that trend, then ultimately you would be failed even if you get a job using fake experience, right? So which is why fake experience for especially career gap people is not at all genuine, and it can be caught very easily in case of any of these 3 pointers, right? Now let's look into this scenario when you have worked from non-IT to IT, right? For example, you are working in some accounting department or some kind of a job you had, and then you switch to IT field, right? Then what would happen is ultimately you won't be able to show your productivity with respect to other team members, right? You would be still coping up because things are new and you know it internally, right? And externally also they will come to know. right? So that's the reason why fake experience is actually uh, one of the thing that might put make you blacklisted in many of the companies, right? Now what was happening when this cost cutting and recession is going on, so companies like Accenture, Cognizant, what they did is they went for background verification. What happens in background verification? Generally people do ask in the comment section of the video, what happens in background verification? Now when you do a background verification, right, so your not only your resume, but each and everything those are related to your career, maybe pay slips, your PF accounts, right? So all those things will be checked, would be validated, right? And there would be one or two calls made to your previous employers just to ensure that you are actually working in that particular company for that particular time period. So in your resume, you would have mentioned that you are working in XYZ company, maybe from February 2015 to February 2017. So the calls would be made to those companies, right? And for example, in your 10 years of experience or in your 6 years of experience, if you have worked somewhere for six months also, and you haven't showed them that particular experience in the resume, but they come to know about that particular work experience in your this background verification, in your reference check, then definitely your profile would be put on hold. So I'll take an example of one of my subscriber who was actually trying to get a job, and he was selected in TCS. This is just 2 months back. He got selected in TCS company, and then what happened is the background verification, all those things got initiated, right? And he has almost 5 years of experience in the field of testing, proper testing field, right? Then what happened is um, there was one company in which he had worked for almost 3 months, right? So that company had paid him the amount, and unfortunately, he thought like work experience of 3 months might not be, a good impression on the interviewer or on the recruiter or on the hiring team. Then what did he do is he didn't show that experience. But when the salary got credited, when he was working in that company for 3 months, so his PF also got credited. And from PF reference, they came to know, okay, this particular candidate was actually working in that company, right? There's one more example of Accenture, right? One of my subscriber had got selected in Accenture, right? And yes, that TCS profile got on hold, right? He was not hired. He's still not hired. So Accenture company is there. So they actually hired a candidate, right? Now that particular candidate, somehow he worked in some company in which he was paid amount in cash. Maybe some very small company it would be there, which would have been recently started. They didn't had any bank account. Even I am not sure how was that possible, right? So as they were not able to get the salary slips, as they were not able to get PF, they put his profile on hold. So background verification, reference check, these all things are becoming very important day by day. you know so when you see people getting selected in interviews, maybe with the fake experience, with the genuine experience, but then ultimately these are the various situations now which have recently come up after COVID. During COVID, what was happening is many people were getting selected virtually, right? And in those virtual interviews, the demand was so high that somehow that reference check, that background verification was not done that much effectively, right? So they hired those people, and then once the COVID pandemic started to end, they started all this documentation, they started all this verification process, and in that they came to know, okay, this particular candidates had fake experience, this particular candidates did not had relevant experience. So all those candidates were terminated from the job immediately, right? There was no notice period served, there was no prior information being conveyed to them, and this was a direct, you know the notice that was given to them for termination itself. What about experience letter? That would be the second question that is coming to your mind. So experience letters were also not given, because once you give experience letters to someone, then automatically the company's name in the market would go down, because everyone will think, how did they did not come to know that that particular candidate was working with a fake experience since last 8 to 9 months. So these are all the controversies that are happening around background verification, around fake experience, right? So what I would suggest is, have some relevant experience with you. Whenever you have got such kind of things like career gap, or you're trying to move from non-IT to IT, try to get some freelancing, try to get some remote jobs, which can help you to get some work from your work home itself. And ultimately it would be an exposure to you. You'll get experience and you will be getting paid also, and that experience you can showcase ahead in your career, whether it's a one project, it's a two project freelancing work that you have done, so you can showcase that particular work ahead. So this was the summary of the entire video. What if you show fake experience? What if you know the things does not might work at that particular time, but then there are chances that if they come to know, then definitely they'll take a very strict action. And this has been happening in last 6 months to 1 year a lot. Whenever companies are coming to know about the fake experience, then they immediately terminate the employees. They don't see in which projects or how much impact they are going to make. This is a very, harsh decision, you will say, but this has been a corporate fact now, right? So whether it's related to career gap, or it's related to if you're trying to move from non-IT experience to IT, if you are having some fake experience you are trying to show with, and you are a fresher, then all these are the pointers in which such things are happening, right? So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you have got a clear idea of whether you should go in some companies with fake experience or not, and what happens even though you show the fake experience, you crack the interview, but then what happens, right? So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and stay tuned for more updates.